you just now tuning in, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell. GMS fam, the green room. Let's talk about it. Hey, yo, GMS fam, the green room. Welcome back. Happy Friday. What's going on? Iron Diet Aries, baby G, Southern California. We are in here right now. Let's go, man. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I'm glad that y'all are alive and made it well to another great weekend. We got a lot to talk about, man, but you know, we don't start out this show without giving peace, love, positive energy, good vibes, passing that forward, hoping that you pass it along as well, keeping that green mind state. Shout out to everybody right now, man. I appreciate y'all for pulling up on me. We got some things to talk about today, man. And one thing I feel like will be the best way to cap off this week of podcasting will be to talk about us. Yes, us, the people, black people. And while we can never seem to agree and try to make some type of progress within our own community before going to look for the progress outside of it, there was a conversation that was had between Tariq Nasheed, Uncle Luke. They were on Clubhouse, you know, the infamous Clubhouse where everybody goes to, or a bunch of grown-ass men go to argue back and forth and actually never come to an understanding, but really just to sit there and hear themselves talk. It got to a point where it just, I mean, it's too much to explain. It's better off to hear the dynamic in this conversation for us to actually break this down and talk about it. Now, I am going to be speaking on the Orlando Brown and Bow Wow situation, but I don't think that's more important than this to start out with. So we're going to start with that first, and then we're going to move to the other bullshit later. So, matter of fact, I'm just going to cut the music off. We're going to cut the music. Cut the music. We have to show from this standpoint what happened, and we got to listen up. I want everybody to hear clearly because, you know, also on Clubhouse, there's a bunch of people on there talking through their phones, so it's not like it's the best quality in the world, but I want you guys to be able to hear what they're saying and tell me what you think about what happened here. Listen up.
That anymore. It's dire straits for foundational black.
But hold on, I'm sorry. Excuse me. My apologies. Let me set this up real quick. This is them having a discussion on reparations and why we should be getting reparations, how we should be getting reparations. And to be honest, I do not disagree with that. I don't know why they've tried to dumb that down, why they've tried to demean us getting reparations as black people in this country. I don't know why they have tried to minimize the seriousness of that. But people are out here pushing for that for all of us, not just themselves. And I want to know why there are people that are opposed to that. Listen,
we have to have the tangibles that we're supposed to get.
Let me ask you. And I asked the same question.
Uncle Luke be sounding slow as hell too, by the way.
Man, on here, have you guys lobbied Congress and the Senate on the check? Have you had sat down and met with these people? If so, tell us some of the people you met with.
We've been dealing with the California reparations forum out here. We've been very active with that. We were the ones who got them to designate that the reparations is going to be lineage based. So we are extremely active with the reparations committee out here in California. You had our good brother like Ice Cube wanting to meet with Biden to talk about tangibles for foundational Black Americans. And Biden said that they would do a meeting with them, but they never did it. So the Democrats are playing these types of games, and we're letting them know we're not going to support you if you want to play these little hide and seek games when it comes to giving us something. We just had a bunch of black people killed in Buffalo, and in the response, Biden invited a bunch of Asians to the White House to talk about an Asian hate crime bill.
Stop Asian hate.
Without doing that with black people. That type of benign neglect policy we can't go for anymore. They've been doing this.
Is that in? I not to cut you off, but it's obvious. People hear your message. I didn't know you until Twitter, and once we got on Twitter, a lot of people know you. You're very influential young man and very powerful. You got a group of people that are very.
I don't know if it's because Uncle Luke is getting old, or if it's because he did way too much back in the day, but it's something about when people talk that slow and that slurred to me, it'd be off to me. Like, I don't take what they say too serious. And maybe that's just my own fault, but it throws me off in a conversation like this.
Active, and they're for the cause. And not only do these people are aware of your movement. They're aware of the people that are affiliated with what you guys are fighting for. I'm just trying to figure out, I would think, you would go to Capitol Hill and sit down in their face, because it ain't like you don't sound like those scared dudes. Like,
right.
Go sit down with them and say, hey, look here, man, this is what we want. This is what we want. And if you don't give us what we want, then when it's time for your ass to run in 2 years, then we're going to mobilize and get you out.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing in October. We're actually going to Washington, D.C. this October. We got a big rally that we're planning right now, and we're going to put it all on the line. We need something specific for us. We're going to need a hate crime bill specific for us. We're going to need something done about this homeless problem, especially out here in places like California and other places that's affecting foundational Black Americans. And we're going to put it on the line and let them know exactly what we need. We're going to have to get them to do something about all of these white supremacist groups within law enforcement, especially in Democrat-run cities. That's the problem. We're voting for all of these Democrats to come in, but all of these police killings with all of these crazy white supremacists working in law enforcement, these are done in primarily Democrat-run cities. So we can't keep voting for our own demise. So we're letting these people know we cannot keep supporting you, continue to support you, if you're not doing anything as we keep voting and holding you up. I don't want to hear about a Green New Deal and some Flint water and all of that, because we're being gunned down and mowed down out here. We need our Democrats, especially them, because we've been supporting them for the last 60 years. We really need them to get busy and do what they need to do and do what they're supposed to do for their main voting bloc, which is us, foundational Black Americans.
Good point. Stopping there for 1 second. First of all, shout out to Black Hippie Ricky for sending the 10 on the Cash App. Much appreciated. If you guys didn't know, for one, hit that like button if you are here. Second of all, the Cash App is to the right, and also my socials. If you want to follow me, I follow everybody back. Now, it's easy for somebody to say, hey, have you sat down with these people and talked to these people? It's easy to say that, but in reality, Congress, politicians, all these people in government know what black people have been asking for decades. It does not take a sit-down meeting to tell these motherfuckers what people have been saying for decades. They know. It's just that they don't want to do anything about it. Every other group out there gets certain laws passed and gets certain things right away when certain things happen. Right off the bat. But we continue to minimize black people's struggle and the things that we dealt with in this country. And then it got so bad in the mentality that there's no white people on this call. These are black people that are against another black person talking about getting reparations. Listen to this.
But you guys are voting this cycle.
So let me just quick. This is a quick one, Steve. So you're going in October. You're gonna meet with all 400 and some more Congress folks and those 100 senators. You're gonna go up there and meet with them. Is it a wrap? You're going to meet with them and tell them basically this is what we want. This is our platform.
Well, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. If they want to meet up, that's fine. But we're still going to go up there. We're not going to book a formal meeting, but we're going to have the media out there and we're going to have the grassroots mobilized.
I agree, Southern. Southern said Democrats don't give a fuck. Let me correct that. Democrats and Republicans don't give a fuck. They both don't give a damn, which is why we got to stop hanging on to the feathers of these birds that are on it's two wings of the same fucking bird. Two wings on the same bird, and we hovering and holding on to both to feathers of these motherfuckers, hoping that they gonna take us to the promised land. And all they keep doing is going in circles. They just keep going in circles, saying the same shit, feeding the same lies.
Washington, D.C., and get all eyes on the streets to let them know what the message is. Because whenever we have protests out here, what the Democrats will do, they will send in controlled opposition and they will exploit the deaths of black people. So when a black person gets killed, they will send some Democratic shills out there to talk about the death for 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden they start talking about, well, black trans are dying too. And what about immigrants? And then it turns into something else. So we don't want any more controlled opposition. We don't want any more Democratic shills. We don't want right-wing shills, because I'm not a right-winger. I'm not down with the Republicans either. I'm nonpartisan. I'm all about tangibles for my people, foundational Black Americans, and in extension, our brothers and sisters from the diaspora, because I'm not dumping on them, but we have to prioritize foundational Black Americans. I don't believe anybody who's an immigrant should show any disrespect to a foundational Black American, because if it were not for us fighting to get them here, they would not be here. White people didn't want black immigrants over here at no point. It was foundational Black Americans in the early 1900s and in 1965 and 64 really stomping the streets, getting their heads bashed in to get brothers and sisters from the diaspora to come over here to be reinforcements for us, because we wanted another Marcus Garvey and more Stokely Carmichaels over here. Unfortunately, the white supremacists got in front of it, and now what they do is send over the Candace Owens and all of the other Sambos that come and join the white supremacists against us. So that's what we also have a problem with. So we're just getting some straightening to figure out who's on team Black empowerment, who's going to support us, and who's going to reinforce us like we've reinforced and supported them.
He said a mouthful. I'm going to just say this too, because I don't want people to get confused. I'm no, follower of, Tariq Nasheed or anybody else for that matter. I don't like following people. I like leading. But I do like learning, and I do like getting information that I probably or may not have, or just soaking up information and knowledge from all different places and shit. One thing I will say, though, is that a lot of these guys have one thing in common, and that's talking really fast. Really fast. And it's no coincidence that they do that. It's a form of speech. It's a form of, like, grasping the audience and getting people to take what you said more of fact than opinion. And it makes you sound more smarter, more intelligent in what you're saying than the actual things you are saying. Now, I'm not saying this applies for Tariq, but I'm saying there's a lot of people like that do that. And I don't know why.
By calling them tethers?
By the way, happy birthday, CDT Beats, man. Send a happy birthday to CDT Beats. Happy birthday, bro.
Yes, by calling them Tepes. Absolutely.
Hey, Tariq,
good luck with that strategy.
Well, hey, what are they going to do about it?
Well,
it ain't enough for y'all to stop it. So
okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's stay here.
It ain't enough for y'all to stop it. That's
Tariq,
like
I have a question for you.
Those are fighting words. Those are fighting words. And why do we have to get that way between us? It's a lot of us that think that white supremacy is what's holding us back. But all they did a good job at mentally fucking up the rest of everybody else and making it so that we fight amongst each other so they don't have to do the hard work anymore. Yeah, they'll get blamed for majority of the shit, but what are they really doing? Now we are standing in our own way. I don't understand.
I think that, from a policy perspective, many of us can agree with some of the things that you're speaking of, right? The police violence and things that can be better in our communities. And this is our first time having a conversation. So I live here in Florida, and I am a Democratic Party strategist. Okay. So this cycle, my portfolio includes 68 candidates running across Florida for various seats, from school board to the governor's mansion, right? And including congressional candidates also. And our primary here in Florida is in August. So right now we are in what I call the messaging platform, right? We're going into media, black media, on radio, black radio, and putting up TV ads or negotiating those contracts. And from a data perspective, I'll share with you, a lot of the items in this conversation are not on the, top 10 reasons for people to get out and vote. And I think particularly it's because there are no conversations being had with the elected officials. Like, I applaud you guys for, organizing and planning to go to DC. I would also encourage you, as Luke was saying, to sit down and have these conversations with the elected officials that represent you in your home communities and are going to be present in DC as well. The reason being is because a lot of these campaigns are built off of data, and a lot of that data comes from grassroots messaging. And if we're not having the conversation with those that are in power to represent us, then, we're doing a lot of stuff for naught. And like I said, a lot of things that you brought up, many of us agree with. But if we're not having the conversations with those that are elected, then we are giving them a pass to say, oh, I don't know about this, or this is not an issue, or, as the young man was saying earlier,
first of all, let me just say, we don't need to give them a pass. They already feel that way. That's the problem with that side of things. They still have hope in politicians. They still have hope that somehow an idea would change in government to where things would actually go our way if we sat down with these people we've been sitting down with for decades. I don't understand trying to recycle an approach. That even goes for marches and protesting. That is a recycled approach. And all they have ever proven is it will only add to the numbers when you go and have a march somewhere. It's not going to change the outcome of how people in America feel, or how politicians feel, or how police feel, or how white supremacists feel about anything.
Kind of be talked down to, like, oh, young man, go do some research or what have you. So when you're going to DC, I would just ask, because I have clients that, work in DC, have these meetings, have these conversations, because if nothing else, at least the dialogue puts it on their radar. And then as you're organizing in communities and the data starts to present, there is a movement behind these legislative issues, that it becomes more populous and more on the radar, and we can possibly get candidates to run on the same platforms and actually elect people who are going to do the work.
Yeah. Now, I will say that these elected officials, they are fully aware of what we want, and they know exactly what we talk about. As you know, they have data research specialists that sit online and literally monitor the vibes and the moods and the language and some of the trends that go on with these conversations. They are fully aware of who we are. They are fully aware of what we want. And the name of the game for them is to continue the benign neglect policy by promising us nothing, but still getting us to vote. When they had the Black Lives Matter thing popping off some years back, there was a memo that was leaked. WikiLeaks leaked that memo from the DNC sending out talking points. And one of the talking points was talk to some of the Black Lives Matter activists, but make sure to not promise anything. Just listen to them and let them speak, but do not promise anything tangible. Do not promise any type of money or any type of resource. So,
hey, how about, let's take it a step further. Throw on a fucking Hotep hat and a fucking dashiki, and let's all kneel on one knee at the Capitol building or some shit. Do some shit like that. Let them feel like they're respected and that we actually hear them and that we actually give a fuck about them. But don't actually change the laws. Don't actually do that. Don't actually put nothing in place to actually help them in life. Just show them, because they're more about performance than anything.
that's the game they like to play.
That's how
They want to
see
talk
us.
and have these little listening sessions. I don't want to have a listening session. I want to have a check writing session. I want my check. We need money. They didn't have a listening section with Asians. They start giving them money and tangibles. They're not having listening sessions with some of the Hispanic families that were caught on the border. They start giving them money. Out here in California, where I live, they're giving them all types of food, all types of financial resources, free medical resources that they don't give us. They're not talking about anything. They're just doing it. So this benign neglect policy, where we as Black people, if we have to get something, we got to just continue to spin our wheels and talk and sing and dance. That's over. They need to start writing them checks to us, or we will not vote for them, and we'll start a whole different political party if need be.
So I
But
hear what you're
you've
saying.
been a
I'll just,
reparationist for what, 5 years?
A reparations.
I don't even know what that means. Reparations for 5 years. What are you talking about, sir?
I said you've been in the active in the reparation space for what, 5 years?
No, a decade. If you go back to some of my tweets going back a decade, I've been talking about it. You go pull up an interview I did on the Breakfast Club in 2016, I've been talking about reparations. I've been talking about reparations. I've been ahead of this thing a long time, brother. You go to my movies, the Hidden Colors films that I did decades ago, or a decade ago, we were talking about one of the solutions being reparations. I've been on this wave, sir. This is not new at all for me.
Well, you were Pan-Africanist first. Come on now.
I respect my African brothers and sisters because I have African genetics, sir. I haven't denied being a person of African descent. I am also a foundational Black American, which makes me a very unique person, and I respect and honor my ancestral lineage. What's wrong with that, sir?
You ain't have
So
to call them
Tariq-
feathers, but I'll let it go. Go
yeah.
ahead,
So
Nick.
Tariq, I'll just share with you real quick, because like I said, we were running this data, and I can only speak for Florida, right? That's where I'm at, and so in percentage of our voters here, and the issues that are on the ballot in our state right now, right? Housing is number one. That's an issue in our state. The cost of insurance is number two. Food insecurity is number three. These are the issues that voters are saying that are their priorities for this midterm election. Healthcare, infrastructure, public safety, environment, and they're broken down 1, 2, 3% here and there for a few other issues, and that's so I can tell you in my state, these are the issues that elected officials are going to be running on. They're going to be talking about the cost of housing, insurance, food insecurity, healthcare, infrastructure, public safety, environment. But there will be no dialogue in Florida around reparations.
Let me tell you this. She can act oblivious if she wants to. But why would anybody bring up reparations when people have made it a joke, made it seem impossible, made it seem like, well, fuck it, forget about it, for decades? Why the fuck would they bring it up for? There would be no point to bring. Why do you think somebody like Tariq Nasheed is bringing it up? Because he's somebody that still believes the fact that we are owed some shit. And the fact that there's a group of individuals who look like us who have adapted that fuck it, we're never going to get it mentality They're trying to be like, well, put that aside. Let's focus on this shit. But do you understand that reparations between us as a group of people could be able to take care of our own type of health care, our own type of everything that's on that list of things that you've been sitting there asking Republicans and Democrats to do for you for years, we could be able to do for ourselves. We wouldn't need them. And it's the only reason why they have made it the way that they have about reparations, because they know that that is something that could possibly single-handedly bring black people to a point that they don't want us to get to. But let's keep going.
Not this cycle.
Okay. And here's the thing. There's not no popularity. The whole LGBT thing, a lot of people are actually against that. A lot of people don't like a lot of the LGBT stuff being promoted on Netflix and Disney. Down in Florida, in Disneyland, there's LGBT flags all over the place. And I know a lot of people in Florida are just not with that. But they still get legislation passed for LGBT people. They still get tangibles passed for LGBT groups, even though I would say most people are against it. So if most people are against something, that's not going to stop us from still campaigning and stumping for what we deserve and what we're supposed to get. Anti-Black racism is a very popular thing. We have a choice to go along with it or not go along with it. I'm not going along with it, and neither are some of our other brothers and sisters, just because they've tried to normalize that. We have to change the cultural lexicon of this anti-Black benign neglect policy that's been going on, where we're supposed to be an invisible group who don't get anything and everybody is prioritized over us. We're stopping that right now because we don't have time to wait anymore. So respect to what you do down there. That's a great thing, doing the data and getting all the research together. But we are going to stick to our guns and say we have to be prioritized as a foundational Black American lineage group.
Can I ask a question about data since Nikki was asking that question? Is that okay?
Oh, this guy here.
Yes.
Okay. You, I don't know what your involvement was, but you were promoting the campaigns of the Senate candidate in Georgia and also a congressional candidate in South Carolina.
Yes.
Both of them, one got 4.5% of the vote and the other one got 3.9% of the vote in those states. Both of them ran on the messages, a lot of the messages that you are advertising now. I also work in a data capacity in my job. Our biggest consumer in my job are African Americans and Blacks around the world. I have never had reparations come up in any survey or poll we've ever done, ever come up in a survey or poll of African Americans in this country, ever. So I'm wondering why, in your opinion, did Marcel fail so badly in South Carolina and the young woman fail so badly in Georgia? If these are issues that you believe are important to our community, why is it not connecting to our community?
These are like the perfect example of people that don't even pay attention to the possibility of things not going away because of how the structure already is in America. There's a structure out here. There's nobody supposed to come out and fuck up what's already going in place, what's already in circulation. Yeah, give these niggas a platform to talk and give them some shit to make them feel important. But at the end of the day, they not finna win shit. They not finna get in this office, and they not finna change a motherfucking thing that we've been doing for years, for hundreds of years. I don't understand how that's a concept that they don't understand.
Brother Marcel was only in politics for 6 months, and that was his first time in, and that brother made a phenomenal impact. The signal boosting of the message has been boosted up out there. So he did exactly what he's supposed to do. A lot of times when people run, we understand that there's a slight possibility that they might actually win, but we also know that they're out there to disrupt the message. And that's exactly
so 4% is now considered a success now?
Yes, it is, because the message is out there. And we got the brother out there to spew that message, and the message is out here resonating now.
That other black man doesn't even realize that he's demeaning somebody right now. Talking about 4% is a win. Hey, look, man. You clearly are against a certain demographic of black people.
So we got to boost the message around the country. We going up against Clyburn. Clyburn has $1 gazillion behind him, and he's been in politics for 1,000,000 years. Going up against a brother who was in politics for 6 months, and he had these Democrats shook. So that's a win for us. And Next
But he
time
also
runs,
felt he also did worse than the other Democrat that ran, and there were 2 Republicans that ran that he also did worse than too. So I'm just trying to understand, if you have this message that you believe connects with black people, why did the black Republicans do better than he did, and why did the other black Democrat that was running, who was also a conservative, also do better than he did?
because they have white money behind them. They have more money. It's just that simple.
He had more money than the other 3 candidates. So I'm trying to understand, if we're talking about data and we're talking about facts, why did the person who had the second most amount of money in this race and also had the 4th amount of money of any of the people that were challenging an incumbent in South Carolina, why did he come in dead last of all these candidates that challenged him? It's just not computing.
Okay, now, because you're just kind of rambling off random numbers and you kind of lost me.
I'll say it again slower. Of all the candidates that challenged an incumbent, he came dead last in the state. Of the 3 others that ran against Clyburn, another Democrat that ran, and 2 other Republicans, he had 7 times more money than the other 3 combined. Why did he do so well?
Who had 7 times?
Marcel had 7 times more money than the other 3 candidates combined. So why did he do so poorly with a message that you said connects to the black community? Why did he do so poorly? And why did the young lady in Georgia do poorly too? She actually did better than Marcel. So, like, why did they do so poorly if this message you're saying connects with voters?
Well, nobody knows who those other people are, but everybody knows who Marcel is.
But so they got more votes. Okay, you're saying they know who Marcel is, but they got more votes than Marcel.
Nationwide, yes. More people know who Marcel is. So
Marcel, is Marcel going to run for president? Because, well, even running for president, it's on a state-by-state basis. So I'm trying to understand, how does Marcel getting people to donate for him or getting people that support him in Brooklyn, or you live in Los Angeles, I know you used to live in Detroit, you used to live in Alabama, you've had a lot of upward mobility, but I'm trying to understand, how does having all these people from all these gentrifying areas help people in Georgia, which is the 2nd blackest state in the country, and South Carolina, which is the 6th most blackest state in the country, and where most black people come from in this country? Why is he unable to connect with black people in black districts and black states?
He is. He is able to connect with them.
He came in dead last.
Doesn't matter out there in South Carolina.
How are you connecting with voters and finishing dead last? I'm confused on that. But I'm going to move on from that. One other question. I'm going to be quiet.
No. Slow down, brother, because now you're just doing word salad. All right.
No, I think I was
because he's new in politics. That's why he's new in politics in that local area, and a lot of those people aren't online and they're not checking out what people are doing. But again,
Warnock was new in politics. Warnock was new in politics when he got elected. But my final question: you said that there was nothing.
Okay,
there was
brother.
Nothing done for black protection
down.
In regards to a crime and regards to hate crimes. And I just read something recently that the person that did the Buffalo shooting was charged with a hate crime. Do you know what bill he was charged under?
What bill, sir, and why does it matter?
No, you said that there wasn't a hate crime bill for black people, and the guy that shot the black people was charged with a hate crime. Do you know what bill he was charged under?
What bill was he charged under?
I think it was the James Byrd Jr. hate crimes bill that was like written to target.
Name the whole bill. Name the whole. No, don't you do that. Name that whole bill.
Not just James Byrd Jr. and
Matthew Shepard.
Matthew Shepard's bill. Yeah.
Right. Name the whole thing. The white LGBT dude.
But the James Byrd was black that was dragged. Do we not care about black people that are
Okay, stop it. They taxed on James Byrd because they were really putting that bill together for the white LGBT community. But they knew that white LGBT people are not really aggrieved like that. So they had to attach a black person to it. And that bill doesn't really help us like that. This was a white man in Buffalo. That's not nothing to pop your collar about. The dude sat here and confessed to a murder that he did on film. I'm not popping my collar to some damn hate crime bill, and the dude basically confessed. Is that what
so you think hate crime bills actually stop people from doing hate crimes?
Are you that you're hanging your hat on a crime that was done on film?
I'm just asking a question. Do you think hate crime bills actually stop people from doing crimes?
You don't.
Hold up. Let me ask Mr. Tariq something.
I'm gonna drop down.
Mr. Tariq,
that dude was.
Do you see
he was annoying
in the near future bringing all these groups together to support the black agenda? Everybody just gonna do their own thing?
Plain and simple. IVR said, after the Civil War, we were promised reparations that slaves and their offspring just pay up. Facts. Tariq is muted.
You're muted, Tariq, if you're talking.
My bad. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Well, I'm a foundational Black American by lineage. So whatever I do, I'm still going to be an FBA. If other groups want to support anything that foundational Black Americans are doing, they're welcome to do so. That's on them. We've always supported all of these other groups, and we're on our ancestral homeland that we built. So we're always going to look out for the best interest of Black people here. That's a given. But other groups, when they come over, are they going to be on our wave? Are they going to try to reinforce us, or are they going to try to get with the dominant society to work against us? So that's a question for people who are non-FBA.
Most people that move to this country who are not of white descent, whether you be African, whether you be Indian, whether you be Somalian, it don't matter. They end up usually most of the time try to adapt to the dominant race of this society, which is white people. Dress, act, get the same jobs, do all types of shit. Even though the formula appears to work for them, it's also something that is a lot more easier for them to do because of what is provided for them when they come to this country. A lot of these people get, and that's another thing about reparations. A lot of people that come from a different country and move here, they're guaranteed money. And I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but you ever ask yourself the question, like you go to or you drive through a different neighborhood or nicer neighborhood and you see a lot more Indian folks or a lot more Asian folks sitting in $500,000 houses and shit like that. I'm not saying they don't work for it. This is not what I'm saying. I'm saying a lot of these other groups that come from different countries already get set up when they get here. They're already allotted financial benefits when they get to this country. So it's like you have all this financial help for everybody else, but when you hear reparations, you motherfuckers start laughing. Oh, we can't do that. How are we even supposed to do that? What do you mean, how are you? So you know exactly how to do it. How do you keep tabs on everybody in the world, taking information on everybody as soon as they get a new fucking iPhone, but you don't know how to split up reparations for Black folks in this country? That's always been weird to me.
Let me ask you,
yeah, guess what? We just sent out more millions and billions out to Ukraine. Just saying.
Do you have the numbers to I mean, obviously you said you're not going to meet with congressmen and women in the Senate, and you guys are going to do a rally. Do you have the numbers around the country to actually push the electric to create a bill, to address all your tangibles?
Yeah. We have enough numbers to make a significant impact, just like we did in California. In California, again, with the reparations task force, they were trying to do some trick bag stuff with the reparations task force, and we put our eyes on them, and we forced them to do the right thing as far as having the language correct, as far as giving the tangibles to our lineage and not just making it race-based. Because if you have race-based reparations, that opens the door to white Hispanics, to Asians, and all these other groups, and then it turns into affirmative action, which ultimately undermines foundational Black Americans because everybody else will be prioritized. Mm-hmm. So we are very, very specific about prioritizing our specific group for tangibles, especially when it pertains to the enslavement of our people. When we talk about reparations, a lot of people try to mix in, well, what about all the racism that other people had to face too? Our reparations claim is not a reparations claim against racism. We're talking about slavery. If we want to do a reparations claim, that can be done later. But we're talking about a specific act that was done to a specific group of people. And that is foundational Black Americans who were descendants of slaves. Now, other immigrant groups, they should support this because this will set a template for them to ultimately get their reparations from the British colonists, from the French that colonized many of the Caribbean islands, and the Spanish who colonized some of those Caribbean places too. So this will open the door and ultimately help them too. So they should support our reparations claim.
Let me ask you, with calling, and I'm guilty of it too. Now I call some people some wild names myself, but with calling these congressmen and women these names, you think that's gonna get them in the long run?
This nigga talking about calling them names, man. Calling people names? Niggas been asking for decades. Do they care about names? That's an easy excuse to just reject somebody's shit. Oh, he called me a tether. Fuck him. Man, get the fuck out of here, sensitive motherfuckers, man.
And sponsor and co-sponsor and get it passed.
Now, when we're in these Twitter
every time Tariq Nasheed bring up reparations, Biden send another $1 billion to Ukraine.
Sometimes it will morph into a roast session.
What you say, nigga?
Everybody can get that work, but when we're sitting down having a real conversation about getting some real tangible policies done, we know how to code switch and get our decorum right and get our conversation together and talk like we got some sense. We know how to flip it when it needs to be flipped. Now, in some of these Twitter space rooms, sometimes it can get janky, sometimes it can get intellectual, sometimes it can turn into all-out roast sessions. Everybody can get burned, everybody can get touched. But we understand if we got some serious contenders who are in politics or somebody in a serious position and they want to have a serious conversation, we have no problem doing that.
Who's the spokesperson?
There's no spokesperson. There's several spokespersons. So anybody can be a spokesperson. We just want people who have a reputation within the community of looking out for the best interest of the community and not people who want to just come in and get something for themselves.
So who's going to make that call?
When you and Roland going to sit down and talk on one of these platforms?
Roland Martin.
Lord. Yeah, boy. Now, Roland, let's be very clear. Roland started on me first a while back because they blamed me for Hillary not getting elected in the midterm some years back because they did some data research and they saw that a lot of people were following me and getting my advice to not vote for Hillary because Hillary and the Clintons have been horrible for black people. And Roland got on air just really going in on me. And the Democrats, they send their shields down to attack me all the time. They attack me over some stuff with Kamala Harris when she was about to get elected. So,
hold on. Not to cut you off, but
yeah,
shit. If you, went against Hillary and everybody know you that powerful to not help her get elected, goddamn. Well, they should all be shaking in the boots when you coming, right?
Hey, a lot of them, again, they monitor what I do. And I've heard that some people who work for the DMC, they get little notes and memos about me all the time. They come in my rooms and, they come and try to disrupt. So they know exactly who I am.
But that's why I'm just saying, I can't tell you how to do what you do. But
right.
I think it would, I just think, if you sit down and have a meeting with the devils and the whatever you want to call them.
Luke
and
drunk,
you sit there
man.
And you say, look here, man, I need, y'all Congress, you got 2 years.
He said if you just sit down, with the devils. He said maybe if I speak his language, maybe we could come to a common ground.
Do what you do. Where's the check?
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? Where the check at now? If you don't get the check now, we gonna mount up against you. And now I can genuinely say it. I met with Congresswoman, man, XYZ, and we told them this is what we need. And now they didn't do that. I'm going back to the community. Hey, look here, man, they gotta go. You feel me? And now at the end of the day, look, we sat down and met with them. Now they can't play like they didn't see the march, or they didn't play like they can see the rally, or they were on vacation and they're not aware of it. No, I sat here and met with you, and we talked about the agenda of our people and the reparation, and just no different than the LGBT. They went out there and they did their little thing with the protests. I understand that, but then they went and they met with all them congressmen and women and say, look, we need our bill passed.
Uncle Luke better act like they ain't already a bunch of LGBTQ secretos, politicians and shit already in government and shit. Niggas already over there getting in each other's groundhogs and shit, getting they dugout on over there, and they trying to act, man. Luke, what do you think? They just busted through with booty shorts and rainbows and said, "Listen here, Congress, we need change," and they just got change. You don't think black people been doing this shit for years? Where the fuck did you think Martin Luther King went? You think Martin Luther King just hit the streets and that was it? Niggas been talking to politicians forever. Why is he saying this? Luke, you're drunk. Go to bed. I don't even want to hear no more. I got to talk about one more thing before we get out of here. Luke about to kill my whole entire vibe. This fucking drunk ass. I can't take that shit. Anyway, in closing on that topic, you know, we got one more topic before we get out of here. But in closing on that topic, I wholeheartedly believe that black people should get reparations. All foundationally black Americans, all foundational black Americans in this country should get reparations. And I think that it probably won't happen due to the conversation around it already being so prominent, and it's been a topic for years. And Congress already knows that this is something that black people would want. Everybody wants fucking money, so it's not like it's oblivious to politicians out there to the point we have to go and sit down with these motherfuckers. So I don't understand that. There's no real approach to that. What up, Jeff? He says, so just talk to him. That's what we've been missing. Apparently, I feel like while Luke was worrying about spreading butthole outside on stages, he forgot that motherfuckers was already been out here trying to make some different changes. See, people think Uncle Luke went to fucking court to change how music is divvied out these days with the parental advisory stickers, which is actually a very monumental thing to do. It's very legendary, but he went there so that he can be able to say pussy and fuck a lot in his music. He didn't do that so that black people could better themselves out here. Don't get it twisted. This man is not looking out for y'all. That's all I'm gonna say. Jeff said reparations will happen just in time for the dollar to crash. Exactly. Right when we're around the point of, hey, we're going to start going electronic and all these cryptocurrencies is about to hit the streets, and then everybody's finna get away from the actual dollar, the actual paper currency, because, you know, I feel like COVID was the start of that. COVID is really the reason, or really part of the reason why a lot of places only accept credit card now. Because, you know, it's not like I'm handing you a credit card, or like we're still not passing things to each other when we exchange items, but we can't accept your dollar bills because, you know, COVID. Everything is fucked up, man. It's fucked up and it's weird. But last thing I want to talk about, man, if y'all didn't see, I talked about this actually a couple weeks ago, man. Orlando Brown did an interview on No Jumper, and he was talking about his transition to being more clear-minded, you know, staying away from the drugs, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to live a more healthy life and try to be more focused and just not being on the shit that he was on before. It seems as though he may have relapsed on his judgment. And this is what I mean. Listen to this.
When's the last time you watched 106 in Park?
Last time it was hot.
What's the weather? What's the weather today, y'all?
When Little Bow Wow was on there.
You got a problem with Little Bow Wow?
I ain't got a problem with Little Bow Wow. Little Bow Wow got some bomb ass pussy. I don't have anything against Bill Cosby. That's my uncle. I love Bill Cosby.
What do you got against Earl Kelly?
R. Kelly, that's the man. I say he did it though.
I ain't getting in all that. That's none of my business.
Ain't none of my business either. You asked me my opinion.
Right.
I mean, I only say he did it because I seen the video. I seen the tapes. You seen it too. Everybody in the room seen the tapes. Didn't you see the tapes? Everybody seen the tapes. Lil Wayne manager seen the tapes.
What tapes do you have?
Now, this clip made its rounds, and let me tell you, I made this point back when I was talking about his interview on No Jumper. I made a point about how people don't talk about what he did. Like, they didn't talk about that interview on No Jumper, him being in a more sober mind state, him trying to change his life around, him going to church, him being saved, him doing X, Y, and Z to try to better himself. They didn't talk about that. That wasn't the major story. That didn't have him trending for 2 days straight. That didn't have a bunch of viral videos going around. But as soon as this happened, now this man is everywhere. And now everybody taking his word for it. And because it does numbers and because things go viral, it provokes certain people, especially people that have mental issues, to double down on what's going on. And that's exactly what he did. Now listen to this.
Yo, Shot. Yo, I just want to tell you, bro, like, thanks for recognizing me as a legend, bro. You're a legend yourself. And I mean, I'm going to just keep it 1,000 with you, brother. And, I love you, man. I love all your work, man. You already know what's going on, man. It's squad, but you're going to have to really, really address the fact that, you got bomb pussy. Bow. You got to tell people the truth, Bow Wow. Tell people the truth, bro. If you got bomb pussy, you got to embrace that pussy. Wow. You got to do things to let people know that your pussy is empowerment. Bow Wow. I love you, Shot. But I want you to know that my response to you being, doing your show and stuff, congratulations, and your little, your concert you got going on, I want to let you know, man, when you get on stage, yo.
Yeah. That was that. By the way, I watched that the interview that he did, the one that he was on where he said Bow Wow has bomb ass pussy. I watched that interview. And if you watch that actual interview and see how it started, it seemed to me, and maybe I could be off, maybe I could be wrong, but like I said, I read the room, man. I read people's body language. I just go off of how people act and what people do. When the interview started, first of all, the guy that's doing the interview looks like he's already on some like satire joke type shit. And to me, it looks like Orlando walked into something he didn't know he was getting himself into. And the interview actually, like, when that clip you heard of him saying that about Bow Wow, you probably would think, like, because when I seen the clip, to me, I was like, oh, he did an interview and he probably said so much wild shit in it. But he didn't. It actually seemed like he was thrown off at first. Like, he didn't know how to answer the questions. He didn't know how to go about it. He was probably like thrown, like, why is this dude asking me these questions? He was acting normal at first. And then I guess when he realized that this dude was like doing satire and doing extra shit, that's when the comments came, the Bow Wow comments came, R. Kelly and Nick Cannon, all that other shit. And you know what? Let me just say this. Go watch, after this, go watch that full interview. And I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as that man asked him about Raven Simone, it was over. He went from playing it normal or acting like he didn't know what was going on to, Raven, I know that's you. I know that's you talking to me. And like, it's something about it click. Like, people that have mental illness, mental issues, the only thing that can set them off is a trigger. And I'm pretty sure he has Raven Simone tattooed on his chest. I'm pretty sure just hearing her name is a trigger enough for him mentally. And as soon as that dude brought it up, the whole interview did a shift. So I just want to say, Orlando Brown, stop doing interviews with random niggas. Stop getting this weird satire off. I don't even, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. I don't want to hear about it. Who gives a fuck? That shit's weird as hell. Yeah, Funny Marco. Shout out to Funny Marco. But it clearly was some satire. And it was some shit that I don't believe was real. I think he was caught off guard. I honestly don't think Orlando Brown knows anything about Funny Marco before that. He probably really thought he was going to do an interview because he's been doing interviews. Like I said, he just did a No Jumper interview where somebody was really asking him questions and genuinely curious about his turnaround in life. Maybe he thought he was going to some shit like that, which is like some blindsided shit and some weird ass shit and some clickbait clout shit, which I would expect that from like the social media, you know, pranksters and trolls and shit like that. But to do it with somebody that got a mental illness, bro, it's like you only bringing this nigga 10, 20 steps backwards, bro. That's all that is. Now, with that said, hit that like button, GMS fam, the green room. I got things to do. There will be no 3Gs tonight, but it will return next week. It is my fault. I have things to do tonight, so I apologize to my big bro AP. It's all love. Shout out to Pac G. Y'all send them some love. Matter of fact, send them some cash apps today. Don't send them to me. Send them to AP and Pac G. All right? If y'all can. And then when y'all send them whatever, send them 5, 10, 20, it don't matter. Send AP and Pac G some dollars on Cash App with the message GMS sent me. All right? Show them some love, man. Put a GMS in the comments. Hit that like button on the way out. Follow me on my socials. I follow everybody back. Hit the Cash App today on AP's and Pac G's Cash Apps. If you are feeling generous, tell them GMS sent you. And leave a comment on this video when the live ends. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some real GMS fam green room members in the comments when this live is over. So leave that comment under the video. And I'll get back to you when I can. Shout out to my GMS fam. The green room. Dope ass show today. Nothing but love. I appreciate y'all, man. GMS fam, smoke some. We out.